You're listening to Legally Blissed Conversations. This podcast reclaims and rewrites the stories female attorneys have been told about how we should practice law, grow our businesses, treat our clients, treat ourselves, and craft our identities as female attorneys. We'll hear inspiring stories from current and former female attorneys, the ones who question the stories they've been told, the ones who aren't afraid to live boldly and step into their own power. We'll learn from women who define success on their terms. Through lighthearted and curious conversation, we'll unpack the challenges these inspiring female attorneys have already navigated. So join me on this journey. You'll be empowered and ready to rewrite a completely new story about what is possible for you. I'd like to welcome everyone to Legally Blissed Conversations, and I would love to have a very special welcome to Diana Schimmel. Diana is a family law attorney and partner at the female-founded law firm Martine, Katz Scanlon Schimmel. She exclusively practices family law with her partners and serves clients in the greater Philadelphia, South, and Central New Jersey areas. Diana helps her divorced clients navigate that process. And the other side of her practice is family building through adoption and surrogacy work. She's married to her other half, Rocco, who's an amazing cook and unfortunate New York sports fan, and lives with him and their 3-year-old daughter, Vivian, in New Jersey. Welcome again, Diana. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so let's talk about all the good things. So why did you go to law school?
That's a great question. So I think I probably had some family influence, as a lot of people do. No other real lawyers in my family, but my mom was a social worker. My grandmother on my dad's side was a police officer. So there was always this undertone of people and service. And I was a pretty big advocate as well. And probably by, my parents' standards, they would say I was very bossy when I was little.
Yeah, but you're a leader now, right?
Exactly. The anecdote that my mom always tells is I was in Girl Scouts, and about like 2nd or 3rd grade, they had a career day, and I could dress up however I wanted to, grow up and be in that profession. And I chose to be a ballerina lawyer. So I wore my pink tights, my black leotard, but then one of my mom's 80s blazers with the huge shoulder pads and a fake pair of glasses with a little, clipboard with a notepad. So I combined the two.
Yeah. Okay. I think that sounds fabulous. Have you not broken that costume out again, like in the last few years?
I actually kind of made it a reality when I knew I was going to law school in college. I double majored. So I did poli-sci and I also did dance. So I kind of did both in real life.
You did both.
I did.
So how did you balance both of those majors?
It was definitely tough. And I ultimately dropped down dance to a minor my junior year because it was just a lot, especially physically with the dance classes. But I tried my best. I had a great time in college. I went to George Mason and they made it pretty easy. So
okay, awesome. So it sounds like you had parents, and I think you said your grandfather who was a police officer. You had
grandmother.
Your grandmother was a police officer. Okay, that's awesome. I mean, it's awesome either way, but it's really cool to see a female in that role, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and especially older. How have those people inspired you today? Like, I always ask people kind of who their biggest inspirations are, and I'm curious, like, how those people being in careers of service impact you.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Obviously, my parents and my grandparents had a huge impact on me. We were a very close-knit family. We're a small family. But I think my grandparents really instilled in my parents certain values and a sense of accomplishment that they needed or wanted to see from them. And then that got passed down. But with my grandmother specifically, she was a child of the Depression era. And at that time, there weren't a lot of jobs. So she sat for the civil service exam when she was 21. And that's how she ended up in the police department. But because she had this voracious appetite for learning and for advancement, she continued on up through the ranks. But as you mentioned, this was a long time ago. So this was the 60s, 70s, 80s, and there wasn't a lot of advancement for women. There was a lot of, keeping us down. So she ultimately, with another friend and colleague of hers, lobbied to, or petitioned to rather, I should say, be able to sit